Hello again, POLSCI001. Here doing Chapter 11. Let's just get into it so I don't waste a lot of time. Alright, so what is a political party? Well, it's an organization of people with shared ideas about government and politics. You get together with people. We tend to socialize. We like being social. So we'll get to people that think like us and form opinions about things and then form a party. So what is the role of parties in a modern democracy? They recruit and nominate candidates for office. So they look for people that they think will get elected to offices in any place in government. So they try to get people that are popular, try to get them to run as for their party. They help run campaigns and elections. So they go out and not only does the candidate have to go and work, but the party will go work on behalf of that candidate. And they organize and mobilize voters to participate in politics. So they get people out to vote. So they want to try to get people out. So it's called Get Out the Vote. I'm sure right now you're getting a lot of calls. You're seeing a lot of advertisements trying to get you to go and vote. And then once they're voted in, then the party will help organize and operate the government. They will do things according to what the party believes. That's why during conventions they put out party platforms and tell you what they believe and what they're going to do. Parties in the Constitution, there is no mention of political parties, and we do not ban political parties in the Constitution, but the founders did not like the idea of political parties because they are very divisive. But they did not ban them. But I will say that George Washington, a fervent believer in not having parties, was not a member of a political party. He did not believe in political parties because, again, they are divisive. If you can look at the country today, we are very divisive on what we believe. Republicans versus Democrats. Party systems, we're going to skip this, so don't worry about this, because this is like talking about single parties, two parties. That will get confused with the party systems when we talk about toward the end of the chapter. There's political parties. Well, there's two parties. There's the Republican Party, which is the right side of the political spectrum, or conservative. So when we talk about the right, if you like a color spectrum, on the right side will be conservatives, and on the left will be liberals. So the Democrat Party is the left or liberal party. You also have small parties like the Green Party, which deals with environmental politics, and the Libertarian Party, which is libertarianism. Green Party is on the left side of the spectrum, Libertarians on the right side, but closer to the middle. Libertarians are for pure liberty, per se, total freedom of anything. So you should own guns, not a lot of government involvement, legalization of drugs. Libertarian Party is for those things. Small, limited government. Alright, so this is the important part of the chapter. This is one of your essay questions for the upcoming test. So, it could be, because it's going to choose between the three that I'll have in the study guide video. So you're going to tell me how the American party system developed. So what are party systems? Party systems, periods with characteristic patterns of voting behavior, of elite and institutional relationships, and of broad system dominant decisions. Here's the thing. When we talk about party systems, let's, instead of using the big political science terms, let's go make it easy. Party systems. People voted a certain way during certain time periods. That's what a party system is. People would vote a certain way during certain time periods. So that's how you would explain a party system. There have been 6 major party systems. So there are 6 of them. You need to know all 6. You need to know the years they began and ended and why they began and ended. So this is kind of an in-depth essay question. So party systems. There are 6, so here's the first. The first is Federalists and Anti-Federalists, 1789 to 1824. So from the inception of the Constitution to 1824, we have Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Federalists believe in a strong national government. They're fighting for a strong national government, whereas Anti-Federalists, stronger state governments, state government center. Begins in 1789 because the Constitution is ratified. Ends in 1824 because, hey, there's no more founding fathers running for elected office. We now have a new generation of politicians. So, and really, Federalists and Anti-Federalists go away, and we come about with the second party system, which is Democrats and Whigs. So from 1824 to 1860, you had the Democrat Party and the Whig Party. What did each one believe? The Whigs Party drew from Alexander Hamilton the vision of a nation modernized by government and encouraged commerce. So if you look at the Whig Party and around Hamilton, they believed a nation modernized by government and encouraged commerce. So more industrialization, urban-centered, looking out for commerce. Whereas the Democrat Party was more agrarian, so derived from Jefferson the vision of an agrarian democracy. So the Democrat Party is more agrarian. So you see that divide in why this party system ends. You have urban versus rural, agriculture versus industry. So it begins in 1824 because no more founding fathers. Ends in 1860 because the Civil War. Civil War, the South is agricultural based, North is industrial based. And who wins out? The North does, right? So the Whig Party goes away after this, and we come up with another party. So the Third American Party is 1860 to 1896. Democrats and Republicans in close competition. So in 1860, Civil War starts, ends in 1865. Actually, the Civil War starts in 1861, but ends in 1865. And in this party system, pretty much, it's Republicans and Democrats running for office, and nobody could really choose between the two. Or they would, and then 4 years later, they'd go back. So really, when we talk about, or the hallmark of the system is, Republicans would rule for 4 years, Democrats would rule for the next 4 years. And then back and forth between the two parties. So really, neither could gain a clear upper hand. So the hallmark of the system is there was a struggle. Neither could gain real power. They may have power for 4 years, but then they lose it again, and then back and forth. Begins in 1860 because of the Civil War, ends in 1896 because of the Spanish-American War. So we have the Fourth American Party system, 1896 to 1932, Republican ascendancy. Republicans always won elections in this time period, except for once, Woodrow Wilson in 1912 wins for 8 years. Yeah, I think it's 1912. I have to check that. But during this time period, Republicans always won elections. What happens in 1896 is the Spanish-American War, right? When good things happen to the country, the party in power gets to keep power. When bad things happen to the country, the party in power loses power. So good thing happens, we beat the Spanish, we take colonies. We take Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, and we become a colonizer. And now we're just like the other powers in the world, we have colonies. So the party in power is seen as good, and they get to keep their job. So Republicans always won elections during this time period. But it ends in 1932 because of the Great Depression. Like I just said, because because good things happen to the country, that party gets to stay in power. When bad things happen, the party in power loses power. So because of the Great Depression, Republicans lose. And we come to the Fifth American Party system, 1932 to 1968, Democrat ascendancy. In this time period, Democrats always won elections, except for once. Eisenhower in 1952 wins. He's the only Republican to win in this time period for 8 years. But for the rest of the time, Democrats always won elections in this time period. Begins in 1932 because of the Great Depression. Republicans are tossed out. 1968, country's divided, Vietnam War, Civil Rights Movement. But I would go probably Vietnam War as the main reason why this party system ends. So we come to the sixth party system, 1968 to present, divided government. Divided government means one party controls one branch of government, and then the other party controls the other branch of government. So that's what divided government means. One party controls one branch of government, the other party controls the other branch of government. Begins in 1968 because of the Vietnam War, and it comes up to today. So when I say that one party controls one branch, the other party controls the other, President Trump right now is Republican, Democrats control the House. Divided. President Obama, for 2 years had Democrats, but then 6 years had Republicans in control of Congress. And President Obama was a Democrat. President Bush II, George W. Bush, Democrats had control of Congress. President Clinton, Republicans had control of Congress. President the first Bush and President Reagan, you had Democrats in control of Congress. So divided government means one party controls one branch, the other party controls the other. And we've gone over why it began and up to today. All right, we need to explain realignment. You're going to tell me why party systems seem to fall apart. That's what explaining realignment means. A period before each realignment in which the old party structure seems to fall apart. You look for trends. As political scientists, we look for trends on why party systems tend to fall apart. So, first thing we look at is a drop-off in voting. As voters perhaps become disillusioned with old party choices. People just don't vote anymore, so they just drop off of voting. An increase in the number of split ticket voting, in which citizens vote for one party's candidates for some offices, but for another party's candidates for other offices. So split ticket voting is you may vote Democrat for president, Republican for Congress. That's split ticket voting. That has been happening more often lately. So split ticket is you're voting for one candidate's party for one office and another party's candidate for another office. The last thing that we political scientists look for is an increase in the number of citizens and public officials who change their affiliation from one party to another. So party switching. You're switching from one party to another. Democrats will switch to Republicans, or Republicans will switch to Democrats. This is happening more often lately. You have a lot of people switching out of both parties and probably becoming more independent. And if you look at it between each realignment, 35-year gap between each realignment when people start switching parties. We're overdue for a party realignment unless there are other trends that we have not noticed yet. And deviating election where the dominant party loses but gains it back after 4 or 8 years. We've talked about the two deviating elections, Woodrow Wilson during Republican ascendancy and Eisenhower during Democrat ascendancy. Those were the only two deviating elections in history. All right, and I'll have the study guide for you on in the next video. All right, that's it for chapter 11. 3/4 of the way done with the class. After this test, you only have the final. Keep it up. Keep going. If you have any questions, please come see me during my office hours or email me. All right, office hours. I'm on Zoom. You can find it in announcements. Go to Zoom. I'm there Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 12:30. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.